whenever you're ready. Okay, hi, we're doing the novice makeup today, and at this point we're going to be putting some foundation on. As you can see with Emily, in most cases when they're this young, their skin is fairly perfect. So the only thing that we're really doing is putting a little bit of foundation on that will help to be a base for the blush and the eyeshadows so that they actually last. Basically, shopping for foundation, the things that you need to think about is the foundation should be at least one shade darker than their skin, because the very, very bright lights of the theaters will actually drown out their skin. So make sure you go at least one shade darker. 2 shade darkers is even fine. And just shop with your nose, I think, because the skin is fairly sensitive at this age. So you want to make sure that you're not finding anything that has a lot of fragrance. There's still a lot of products that are national that you don't have to go with very expensive. For instance, this is L'Oreal, and it's not so bad. It has very little fragrance, but yet it offers very good coverage. And I think this one's called the True Touch, L'Oreal True Touch. So what you want to do is ask your little dancer to lift her chin up a little bit and close her eyes, because we don't want her panicking as your fingers are attaching her skin. You can use a sponge if you like. I like the touch of my finger to make sure that I've attached to every part of her face. This is kind of the boring spot, but we're just going to try to get this on as fast as possible. Obviously, the idea is to try to make sure that you've got right into the hairline so that there's no obvious makeup lines. Emily, can you lift your chin up a little bit more? Atta girl, just like that, perfect. Go right over the eyelid as well. If you really want to get technical, they do have some really cool products now where you can use actually primers and finishers. But with these little ones, they're only doing 1 or 2 dances at the most. So you don't have to worry too much about longevity of the foundation. You just want to keep it simple because their attention span is fairly short. Can you turn a little bit this way, honey? Thank you. Lift your chin up a little bit, huh? Thank you. You'll have to keep reminding them to keep their eyes closed and their chin up because they're not used to this. Try to make sure that you're keeping your touch fairly light, because it is an unusual feeling for them to have somebody touching their face so often. But as you can see, what we're doing is actually creating a palette or a canvas. We've almost actually wiped out a lot of her natural bone structure. So your next tutorial is going to be bringing all of those physical bone structure features back again. You know what I want you to do, Emily, is pretend like you're looking at the ceiling right now. Can you do that? Atta girl. So you want to make sure that the foundation has spread as evenly as possible. Because of the fact that you're going 1 or 2 shades darker, you don't want to have that distinct line. So you want to just try to blend that in as much as possible. And I can see already, obviously, that I forgot this eye because it's a little bit pinker than it needs to be. So the last thing to do is make sure that there's a little bit under the eyes. And the best trick to do is just talk them through it. Emily, can you look up at the ceiling for me? Actually, you're going to open your eyes and look up at the ceiling. Up at the ceiling? Atta girl. The best trick is to try to make sure that they're looking in a direction where they don't see your finger coming at them. So that's when they kind of panic and start blinking too much. And they can never blink too much. You'd rather that they blink and not have their eyes water. Just work around it. Practice makes perfect. So now to seal this, sorry honey, I forgot to tell you I was coming up at your forehead. You can bring your chin down a little bit more now. Thank you. Okay, so to seal this, we're gonna put a little bit of foundation, or sorry, powder. You can choose loose or you can use pressed. Probably at this age, the pressed powder is a little bit better because of the fact that less likely to get in their eyes and make their eyes water. So just take a good fluffy brush and some pressed powder. Emily, can you close your eyes again? Thank you. And then just the same spots that you put the foundation. And this just helps to set it because they like to touch their faces. You can also do this again after you've finished all of their eyeshadow and their blush, but for now, this gives a good base. And that is the foundation and the powder. We're done. Hi, we're here going to do the TDE novice dance makeup. You've seen the foundation and the powder already. Now we're going to do the eye makeup. You'll see that Emily already has one of the eyes done, so you can see the end result. But we're going to start from scratch on doing her other eye. Important to note, all of the makeup that we're using, you kind of have certain leeway. I'll make some recommendations on what you can use. But two items, the most vital items, which is the teal sparkle and the silver sparkle, will be supplied to you by Terry. So don't go rushing out to buy these. She's already got them for you. Everything else will be by suggestion, and certainly, hopefully, you'll take some recommendations on the quality of the product that you're going to use, because the better the quality, the better the outcome is going to be. So we're going to start with Emily. If we can just zoom in on the end result here. You can see what we're looking for is ultimately, Emily, can you maybe look down a little bit? Thank you. We're looking for the teal, white, black, with a little bit of silver for the silver anniversary this year. So we're going to redo that on her right eye so you can see what the methodology is. The first thing that I'm going to talk about, and I can't emphasize enough, is about the eyebrow. Emily has a good eyebrow already, but it can never be dark enough. From the audience, the judges are going to be looking for expression on their face. It's one of the things they constantly talk about is the expression. And one of the best ways for them to see the expression is through the eyes. And the eyebrow is the frame of the eyes, so we're going to make sure that they can see those eyebrows from a distance. Best thing to do, best practice, is to take them to the store and give it a try. Get your cosmetic consultant to help you pick a color. The color I'm using right now is probably a little bit red for Emily, but just for the point of showing you how to apply it, it's as easy as you can use a pencil. Some of them come as powder. Even if you have an eyeshadow powder that is around about the same color as their eye color or their eyebrow color, you can use that. But if not, anything as close to it that's going to give a little bit more distinction in their eyebrows. Those blonde girls, can't emphasize enough. From the audience, what you end up seeing is a forehead that looks like it comes from the lashes right up to here. So make sure that you're using a little bit of eyebrow pencil or brown eyeshadow to go through. You don't have to create an eyebrow that isn't there. All you're doing is just emphasizing their features that they already have. You can use the pencil, and then if you have an eyebrow brush, you can just soften it up a little bit. Most important point on all of the products that we're using is this is not something that looks attractive from 2 feet or 4 feet. We need to make sure that it's distinguishable from several hundreds of feet and with bright, bright lighting. We want to make sure that we've actually, we from the foundation and the powder, we actually almost created a flat palette. Now what we want to do is start to emphasize the bone structure that they have. So with the children, with the novices, the most important thing to do is make sure that they trust what you're about to do. So talking to them and telling them what you're about to do is half the battle. If you attack them with the tools and the products, they're obviously going to start panicking, their eyes are going to water, they're going to jump, and you're going to end up with having to redo the makeup. The best thing to do is, number one, practice as often as you can, and number two, talk to them and let them know what you're about to do and be as gentle as you can. So Emily, can I ask you to tilt your chin a little bit higher right now? Thank you. See, I'm just talking her through it. So we're going to start with the white as the base of the eyeshadow. So Emily, I don't want you to close your eye altogether. I just want you to look down towards the table. Thank you. And we're going to cover the entire eyelid. You can always help to guide them gently with your hand. This is a MAC eyeshadow. Not going to try to promote any particular brand. Just if you're curious, that's the one that I'm using. You can use a sponge or a brush, but I find that the sponge helps to keep the shadow on the applicator as opposed to falling all over the eye. I find brushes are really good for blending out, but for the actual application of the color, sponges tend to keep it where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go a little bit under the eye too. So Emily, can you look up at the ceiling? Thank you. So the reason I ask her to look up at the ceiling is because that way she doesn't see the applicator coming at her eye and she doesn't panic. So Emily, now what I want you to do is look at me. That's it. So then I'm going to come from the opposite side and put right in the corner of the eye. Lots of white. White in the corner of the eye opens the eye right up. There we go. Thank you. So now I've created the white base. The same sponge it has, and these I think I got from Shoppers Drug Mart. Go. It's called Beauty Tool. Comes in an entire package. There's lots of them. That way when you lose them, or you can just pop out the next one. So here again, we've got MAC again, and it's a black eyeshadow. So black, white, teal, and silver are the theme, of course, for this year. So now what we're going to do is actually create contour on her eye. The easiest way to do this is to start feeling with your baby finger or whatever finger. Find out where the brow bone is. It's not where the brow is, but the brow bone. So don't be afraid to touch it so that you can actually see where that is. Emily, I'm going to ask you to tilt your chin up a little bit more. Thank you. So now that I've got that in the area, I'm going to actually follow the brow bone. The important thing to know, so that you're not actually making the eye look sad, is to only come as far as the brow, the end of the brow and the end of the corner of the eye. With practice, you're going to end up being able to do this freeform. But for the first few times, a good tool to use is a piece of tape. If you have some surgical tape, you can use that straight on. If not, you don't want to actually use it straight on her eye, because when you pull it off, it's probably going to sting. So the best thing to do is just take the tape and get rid of most of the stickiness just by putting it on your hand. So now that I got rid of most of the stickiness, Emily, just lift your chin again. So basically all I'm going to do is take from the corner of her eye and to her eyebrow and just put that down. So now what I have is a good indicator of where I'm going to take all of the eyeshadow. Important to note with eyeshadow is it's better to go over several times with a little bit of eyeshadow than too much eyeshadow and then have to try to take it off. So I've found the brow bone, and I'm just gonna start from the outside and follow it along. Every eye is different. Emily has probably a normal amount of eye space between her lashes and her eyebrows for a child her age. Some children though have deeper set eyes, some have even less space. So with practice you'll be able to figure out which is just enough to give contour to the brow bone. There is not a fast rule other than practice makes perfect. So now I've found the actual brow bone. Now I'm going to use that tape to show me that I can now follow that line to come back down again. Can you look back down again, Emily? Thank you. If you think of the number 7, either in its correct form or in the opposite form, it's kind of the form that you're following. And then you just sort of fill in the corner a little bit. You bring it right down to the eyelash line and fill it in a little bit. You don't really have to worry too much about blending because once again, theatrical lights will more than compensate from any harshness that you seem to think that you're creating here. Okay. Emma, can you look at me for a second? Look down. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to go for the teal. And that's the sparkly teal that Terry's going to provide to you. It is liquid, so the best thing that you can do is to prime your dancer with what she's going to need to do. So Emily, what I'm going to need you to do is tip your chin up a little bit. Thank you. And then I want you to look down. And the most important thing for you to remember is that you're not going to look back up again until I ask you to look back up again, because it's liquid. And if you look back up again, it's going to end up going up on your eyebrows. And then we're going to have to start all over again. So keep your eyes down. Because the novices are not going to be wearing false eyelashes, we can actually bring the teal right to the lash line. But we want it a little bit thicker than just the lash line because we want it to be able to be seen almost like an eyeshadow. If it's easier to just dab it on, you can certainly go ahead and do that too, because it makes it a little bit thicker. Lift your chin a little bit, Emily. Thank you. Keep your eyes closed. So we're going to let that dry a little bit. Okay, so we're back. We took a little bit of a break, probably about 2 minutes. The best thing to do, tips to keep them amused while you're getting that to dry. You can always put a little bit of blush. You're not going to finish it off because you've got the tape on there, but things to keep them keeping their eyes closed is you can. I'm just going to put a little bit of blush on. Another thing that you can do is very, very gently blow on their eyes. But of course, warn them that that's what you're going to do, Emily. I'm going to blow on your eye a little bit to help dry that. And then your ultimate test is just actually very gently put your finger on, and if there's nothing on your finger, then you're good to go for the next step. So the next thing that we're going to do is the black liner, because we've got the white and teal and we've got the black for the contour to give shape to the eye, but now we're going to put the eyeliner. And the value of the liner is actually to give the illusion that their lashes are much thicker and longer than they really are. We recommend that you use a liquid liner. If you can find a waterproof one, even better. But the liquid liner versus the pencil liner will actually last beyond them touching their eyes by mistake, which will ultimately happen. No matter how much you ask them not to touch their eyes, they tend to keep forgetting about that. So the liquid liner actually will withstand a certain amount of touching. We still have the tape on there so that we can use that as our indicator to draw the eye up as opposed to drag it down. So what we're going to do is regardless of what kind of liner you use, again, my recommendation is less is more. You can always go over it if you don't have enough on the liner, but if you have too much, then there's going to be a lot of trouble to try to fix it. So using the tape as your guide, you're just going to start from the outward corner and just gently start to come in to the middle. For the top of the eye, it's good to try to go as far as you can to the corner. And don't be afraid to come further out, because again, what you're trying to do is give the illusion that the eyelashes are actually longer and thicker than they really are. And with the tape there, you shouldn't have too much trouble with it being too thick. So again, we're going to just warn Emily that I'm going to blow on it a little bit to try to help dry it. And she's doing a really, really good job of keeping her eyes closed. Thank you, Emily. I'm going to blow. And of course, we need to do the bottom lashes as well, or underneath the bottom lashes. So now I'm going to pull the tape away. Of course, hair normally grows down, so to ensure that we're giving the least amount of discomfort, I'm going to start from the top and just pull away. There we go. Okay. In my opinion, I probably haven't gone far enough with the black, so I'm just going to freeform it, but ooh, got it upside down. But again, practice makes perfect. I'm just going to extend that a little bit further. As you get more practiced, or before you can get to the point where you're confident that one eye looks the same as the other, obviously try to make sure that you're seeing some sort of symmetry. As Victoria always says, they're sisters, not twins, so one eye is not exactly the same as the other. So you don't have to worry too much about it being too close together, the same. So once that's dried, I'm going to blow my eye again. We're going to do underneath. Chin up. And I'm going to look. Can you look up at the ceiling for me now? Good job. I'm going to bring your chin down a little bit, and now you can actually open your eyes and look up at the ceiling. That's it. Thank you. And again, less is more, so try to take as much of the eyeliner off as possible. And this time we're only going to try to come halfway across the eye. We don't actually want to go right into the inside of the corner of the eye because that will actually close up the eye. We want to keep it open as much as possible, but give the illusion that the bottom lashes are full. So I'm going to just start the line that's already there from the top and go along. This is not easy. Practice makes perfect. I just made a little oops actually. We can talk about that. Solutions for that. You're going to just keep looking up, hun. Thank you. First and foremost is the judges are not going to see that little oops, so you don't need to stress. But if it makes you feel better to fix any kind of little bit of oopses, there's a couple of different solutions. You can use a Q-tip and an oil-free liquid makeup remover to remove a little bit of that black. Or now, of course, they have the oil-free makeup wipes, which are awesome. Really good tool to keep with you in your makeup case so that you can clean up any of the oopses. If I had that right now, I would just, once it dried, clean up that little line and then just put a little bit of foundation to cover that. But the reality is the judges are so not going to see that little bit of oops. So don't stress about it. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. All you're doing is trying to make sure that there's the emphasis of the lashes. So the next thing we're going to do is put the mascara on. This is an awesome tool that I use. They used to, many years ago, actually have a tool that was an eyelash guard. I haven't been able to find it of late, so I kind of improvised. When you, not the eyelashes that you're going to be using for competition, not this year, but someday. But if you go to either Shoppers Drug Mart or any of the stores that sell cosmetics, you usually find eyelashes that will have an eyelash applicator, and that's really what it is. It picks up the eyelash and allows you to put it onto the eyes. I use this as an eyelash mascara guard. It allows you to actually guard the work that you've done already so that you don't have to worry about applying the mascara and ruining what you've done. The key here is, again, talk your model through it and try not to put too much pressure from the applicator onto the eye. All you want to do is shield the upper lid and the lower lid. So Emily, I'm just going to put this down here, and I love the way that you're looking up, but what I would like you to do is look to the left. Good. So the key here is to make sure that she doesn't see the wand coming at her, because if she does, she's going to flinch. So she's now looking the opposite way, and we've got the guard, and there's no panic because she doesn't naturally see it. And then we're going to tell Emily, please don't look up for a few minutes until that dries, or a few seconds. Okay, and you can even take the guard away and just touch up the tips, and it gives a little bit of fullness. Okay, recommendation is waterproof mascara, because their eyes do tend to water and they sweat, so you don't want that ruining halfway through the dance. Emily's eyelashes are not extremely long, so I think that she can tolerate me going ahead and doing the bottom lashes. But if they have very long or very curly eyelashes, you want to give them a couple minutes for that to dry as well. So Emily, can I get you to look up towards the ceiling? Thank you. I'm just going to put that down there. And Emily is a really good model. Some of your models might not be able to tolerate this very much. So all I can say again is practice makes perfect. The more they get exposed to it, the more tolerant they'll be. Okay, and just try not to look right down. You can actually put your chin back down again. Awesome. So the last thing for the eyes is the silver anniversary touch, which is our sparkles. So this sparkle has a combination of liquid and sparkles in it. And the key here is to make sure that in order to ensure that the work that you've done doesn't smudge, is instead of swiping, you're just going to dab. So start in the corner and dab. Goes right from the base right up to the eyebrow. I'm doing good. Thank you. You could let it dry and do a couple more coats depending on how many of the sparkles actually land on the lid. And it's another opportunity for them to keep their eyes closed for a little bit. This is where you're going to actually finish their blush off. So keep your eyes closed, hun. Just leave the chin up. So the blush, again, just like everything else, you're trying to create bone structure that needs to be seen from several hundred feet away. So more is better. You want to keep it natural looking. You're not looking for too much bone structure in the little ones because we want to keep them looking like they have bone structure but that they're not adults. So big apples right in the center of the cheek and a nice bright color. So while she's got her eyes closed, I'm going to do her lips as well. Keep your eyes closed here. The liner can be fairly natural color. It'll last you for a while. Mascaras and shadows, the shelf life for them, and liners are generally only one season. Wouldn't recommend them lasting too much longer. But anything that's in a pencil form can last a couple of seasons. So getting a neutral color is a good investment, and then you can keep that for a couple of years. Really all you want to do is use it to finish off the shape of their lips without the lipstick running. So I want to go just outside their lips, natural lip shape. And a cute little sweetheart lip at the top can be done by just starting with the V at the top and then coming back down again. Doesn't have to be perfect. Again, judges are not really going to see. A tip to make the lipstick last a little bit longer is fill in as much of the lip with the lip liner as possible, because that actually acts as a bit of a dry base. Can you open your mouth just a little bit? Thank you. Just sort of pull up her skin to get underneath. The proper listing of current lipsticks will be on the website. This is British Red, but I think this one is discontinued. So there's another one called True Red. But again, don't trust me, trust the website and the list. Using a lip brush, and that is just so you can save on lipstick, really. In a pinch, you can just put it straight on from the applicator itself. We're going to do the top lip just to show you. In this case, open your mouth a little bit more. Just drop your chin a little bit. Thank you. And just dabbing it on. Usually, depending on the temperature of the room, the both of you might have worked up a little bit of a sweat. So you can always just do one last dab of powder for good measure. I'm going to put a little bit on your eyes, so don't flinch, okay? And then the best trick of all to make sure that they don't have lipstick on their teeth is to say, Emily, I want you to take your index finger, your pointer finger. Which is your pointer finger? Can you show me? Perfect. So I want you to put that in your mouth. You can actually open your eyes now because I think they're finished. So I'm going to get you to do this with your own finger though. Can you do that right now? Can you put your finger in? And perfect. And then make sure that you wipe that off with a Kleenex or whatever. That way, oh, don't want to put the shrimp. That way it doesn't get on her teeth. And there we go. There's the novice makeup.